Well, typical match played on a semi-final between the two teams in the highest position in the ranking of CAF. So a lot of quality players inside the pitch from both sides. I think it was not the best well-played match, let's say, but a typical semi-final match with both teams trying to explore the different things that could be explored inside the pitch, but also protecting the goal, also because, as you know, it's important. It was important for them not to suffer, but also was important for us not to suffer. That doesn't mean that we play defense, because we didn't play defense, we tried to attack, but also the way that Ahly structured their team is quite unique. For the first time we saw them so narrow, so close in all the games we saw. We never saw them playing with 4 center backs in order to close the middle of the pitch as much as possible. But well, they achieved their objectives. That was not suffer. We could not score the goal that we looked for during the entire match. We tried different ways. We organized the team obviously in order to go against that defensive organization from Ahly. We knew that it would be a match of not many chances, that we would take advantage of the few ones that could happen. We knew that they would always look for a counter-attack, and how dangerous they are in counter-attacks by the quality of their players, and how well we had to cope with those moments. I think it was very positive, that aspect of the game. I think that we were even stronger than in the home match we played against Esperance, but the difference is that on that match, out of one action we scored. In this one it did happen, that we have a strong belief that we can do it in Cairo, and we go for the second match with full enthusiasm, of course, and belief.
Thank you very much for that, Coach. Colleagues, you can go ahead and ask your questions by raise of hand, identifying yourself as well as the publication you present. Maybe let's start here in the middle with Kens. Okay.
Thanks, Tava. Good afternoon, Coach. Obviously, knockout games are not a given, and a two-legged game is never finished in the first leg. But do you see a cause of concern, Coach, that your team at home, you didn't create one big chance, didn't have one single shot on target, even though you can look at the glass half full, at the second half you can, in the minimum, get a goal scoring draw and then you go through. But do you have a bit of concern, Coach, to say I didn't create as many chances as I could have, especially playing at home?
No, I can say that we didn't create as many chances as we wanted to. As we could, that's another question. Because when you say as you could, it means that you have that capacity, but we didn't have. But we didn't have because we don't play alone. It's important that you also understand who you are facing and how they position themselves in this match. Because you never saw Ahly playing in this pitch like they play today, settling on the back the way they settle today. It means that they respect us so much, that they believe that we could be so strong, and they worry about closing the spaces for us. I never saw Ahly playing with 4 center backs, but they played today, and they did their strategy. If they would play a game on the ice, probably both teams would have more chances. It would be a more open game. But maybe also we could suffer. Maybe we would score 2 and suffer 1, and we would be regretting that we suffered 1 goal. The boys tried hard. I have to congratulate them, because these games are so tricky. And also you should be respectful when you speak about who you have ahead of you. Because we are speaking about a team that last 5 years played 5 finals. In 2021 they beat Kaiser Chiefs 3-0 in the final. Of course I know that Sundowns already won to Ahly and several times. I know everything. And I still believe that we can beat them, because we didn't lose with them. So there's a lot to be played still, and a lot of belief and capacity to be put it on the pitch. We're gonna go for the second leg, where there will be a different match. And whoever will go through, the other team will always not be happy, but for sure, who will go through will be very strong, because two best teams in Africa in the ranking. So one of them will suffer in the end. I hope that we can be strong enough to cope, because I believe so, considering how strong we were in Tunisia, to cope with the ambience. That is something, of course, I'm very happy that our fans today helped us, but it's so sad to see such beautiful stadium almost empty when you have a semi-final of a Champions League. So you should have a full stadium supporting us, giving us extra energy, that 2 or 3% that also catapultates you in the front, because it's so tough to play this kind of games. That's the best players in Africa playing this match. And that is something, because sometimes people ask me, what's the difference between the Northern African teams and the Southern Africa teams? That's also that. You're going to, in Cairo, have a 90,000 stadium cheering from the first to the last minute, giving energy, whatever happens in the pitch. And today, despite we felt energy from our fans, we should have a full stadium cheering, a full South Africa on this stadium. I hope that... And that should happen with the matches from Stellenbosch and from Orlando Pirates the same. And we didn't. We had well, unfortunately, I could not look behind, but I think the stands behind me were quite okay, but the rest of the stadium was unfortunately not in the level that of this game. And that also could help us some energy. And it's important that in the next matches that we play home championship, because we'll have very tough championship matches ahead, that our supporters can come in numbers and give us the energy we need. Because to get over these kind of teams, you need everybody to play. The players, the coaches, the staff, everybody, and the fans, and everybody. And but we believe we will cope with the energy that will come from the outside in Cairo. The stadium is huge, but it's a little bit like in Tunisia, has the running track, and our players have such mentality that when you beat them once, you believe that you can beat them again. That's what happened today in the pitch. How we're going to do it, we'll find, but we'll try our best, believe. We'll try our best.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Lorenz from Huddersfield Times. Obviously, we saw Temba's Wane returning today after months on the sidelines. Just whether he plays 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 60 minutes, how important is his creativity for the business end of the competition, this competition, the championship, everything, given the fact that he's got something unique that other players don't.
Yeah, it's we should really relate with all the weapons we might have in order to achieve the objectives, that is winning games. Obviously, everybody understands that Temba comes from a long period where he didn't play. Our medical department, our performance department made a wonderful job in order to recover him. But for sure, Temba is not ready to play a full match. Otherwise, he will struggle in the pitch, and we will not put him in conditions to perform. That's also respect from us to him. But today, we had no problems to put him to play. We knew there was a moment that he could bring something according to how the game was. Because also when you play a game in half pitch, it's more easy for him, because if you play a game in go and come and come and go, then it's much more difficult, he will struggle more. But this kind of exposition to the games also will give him, obviously, the development of his condition so that he can help us more and more and more. I'm quite happy about the fact that indeed he came back, but most of all because he's a human being that struggled a lot during a long period. I followed his steps on his recovery. He invested a lot on that. Also, Motobi is now coming back. So it's players with experience, players that have a strong word in the group, players that give stability in the group, that bring joy, that bring animation, that bring energy. Of course, we'll use them according to the level, so that indeed they can be powerful for us. As I told you last time I seated here, I believe they will help us until the end of the season for sure.
Coach, Kamakolo for Soccer Laduma. Coach, I just wanted to ask you about Lucas Ribeiro Costa. It's been some time since he's registered a goal contribution, and although the team has continued, to win, it hasn't really been with his best level, if I can say, seemingly so. So I just wanted to ask if it's a cause of concern for you, or you understand the circumstance that you're playing in CAF Champions League quarterfinals, semi-finals. Yeah.
I totally understand the question, and I think it's important to comment it, because After Lucas made the goal, that the matches he made against Pirates and then against Chiefs, after that it was clear that all the teams worried so much about him by closing him and 2 free players over him, making his job much more difficult. And because of that, we don't see him so free in the pitch. What is important is that the team understands that when there's 2 free players going on him, there are other spaces on the pitch that should be used, and we should relate with that. And also himself should understand if he receives so much pressure, he should release the ball and let the other ones play, so that then he can position himself in order to find the spaces and play. Lucas and other players we have in the team are players that can make the difference. What I'm always telling is that on the decisive moments, these players should inspire themselves and bring on the pitch the individuality they can bring in order to put it on the service of the team, of course. I think Lucas will be like, when you pick the ketchup and you start asking for it to go out and suddenly, poof, it comes a lot more than it's supposed to come. I think it will happen naturally with Lucas because he's working normally, so I just hope he can be stable enough to make that moment arrive and appear, and football is exactly like that. And as you said, important that we can move forward.
Good afternoon, Coach. I just want to check, how difficult was it to drop Suarez and put Libusa in this match?
It was not difficult. It was not difficult because, first of all, I'm the coach. I must make decisions, and I should do them when I need to do them. But let me tell you that I told Lucas before the match started in the locker room that today I trust him more than last week. Because on the day after, he made that mistake that unfortunately gave a goal for Chiefs. He was heading up and moving forward on the training sessions, and he reacted. He had 10 minutes in the game that he was affected. It was clear that he hid it, but then he also appeared in the game, so he showed character. Argentinian guys in general, they have a lot of character, in the right way. So I just believe he will stand up. Of course, that me as a coach, I also need to protect him. And sometimes protecting a player is not allowing him to be exposed to the critic. But I will not allow that. No one will kill him, for sure. Believe me that Lucas will naturally play again in the team, and that will naturally happen. I just want you to remember that 1 week or 1.5 weeks ago, we played Tunisia, or 2 weeks ago, and we had Mali Koza entering the pitch to help the team in the last 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And today he was not even on the list. And Musa was playing, then he had a knock on the head. I think it was in Golden Arrows, I don't remember exactly. And he had a 2-week or 3-week period, he could not even touch the ball with the head, so he had to step out, and another one came in. So that's how we relate with the moments. Tashrik passed the Ramadan, and he struggled so much because he didn't eat properly for a long period. He's a player that is already naturally thin, so he struggles more than the other ones. He recovered from that period, he today played. So when I say that I trust the players, I prove that I trust the players since the first day I arrived here. What they need is to give me a yes when we give them the opportunity. And that's what will happen with Lucas naturally and to the other ones. Because also, as I stated today, we have no problems to put them to play. And that's the way we relate with the players. Pass them trust, but demand them to work. Because then if they don't work, for sure I don't put them inside. And so no one should be comfortable enough to believe they will play if they don't work hard. But the ones that work hard, we trust. And in general, we don't have problems with players not working hard, in general. So.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take the last question, colleagues.
Coach, Skanyiso Chokoya from News 24 Sport. From the bountiful month of February, where 22 goals were scored in all competitions, from March onwards, there's only been 8 across all competitions. At this key part of the season, how do you fix that?
It's important to understand which kind of games you are playing, because last games we played was 2 times Esperance. Was the match of Sekou Kune that we scored one in the normal time in the last 90th minute, but was not given. But okay, we scored 1. We went over. we score. So, and then we play Ahly. We play a semi-final of Nedbank Cup against Chiefs. It's important to understand who you are playing with and or against. Also, for sure, those numbers will drop in terms of goals scored. It's normal when you increase the level of the opponents. But also, it's important that you understand that from the moment we score 4 goals, go check how the teams played against us. Most of them in the back 5, some of them in back 6, dropping the wingers, following our fullbacks. And because of that, we struggled to create. When we played Amazulu, you saw the game, a very narrow game, not beautiful one, because they defended. We played Sekukuni the same. They defended for 90 minutes plus 30. But I'm not disrespecting those teams' attention. I'm just stating the. And then it's obvious when they close so much that you will not score goals out of the sky, coming from the sky. You just need to score more than them. And I believe that from now on until the end of the season, that's what we're gonna face. A lot of narrow teams with high stimulus to not concede from us. But I also believe that we will always score one and more than the opponent to get the results we need to get.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. We do wish you all the best.